I'm going to start now. I'm going to tell you why I make this film. The reason why I make this film was actually the liar and the silences between in my family, in my society, and also in the history of Turkey for last century. When I was a child, I knew that my name is Mizgin, which means the good news in Kurdish. But when I went to school, my name was Mujde, which I heard for first time. I didn't know it before. So my name, my Kurdish name, was forbidden by country, by Turkish state. And it was not only my name, only the speaking in Kurdish and my identity, if I say I'm Kurds, and many other things, they all were forbidden. And I knew that my father and my mother, they weren't present at in our village at the moment they will live in the village. And I grew up, I brought up by my grandchildren, grandfather and grandmother, and I were calling them as mother and father. So this all liar, like all silences, because when I was asking about my father or my mother, where were them, it wasn't easy to explain it to me. And they just they wanted me to hide them. They wanted me to keep as a secret in my life, in my mind. And I did it for a long time. And when I become an adult, and when I had a camera to use, when I had a tool to use as a language, I had to make this film. And because I knew that I was a guerrilla, I was a daughter of a guerrilla, or for some other perception, terrorist, and I knew how it is difficult to live as a daughter of a guerrilla or terrorist in Turkey. So these all realities, these all conflicts, gave me the idea to make a journey through him and to make a film about him. Because during my childhood I was researching him, but no one answered me in the right way. No one answered me openly. And because when we started to talk about him, they always wanted to close the doors. They always wanted to hide him in a very special corner of our family history. And then, I decided to go to the place that he died, which was in a refugee camp in South Kurdistan or in Iraqi Kurdistan. And I went to there, but the journey in this film, you see that the journey starts in Istanbul, and then I went to Mardin to talk to my grandfather and grandmother for first time when I was an adult. And I asked them about very childish question, but very emotional questions for me, because I wanted to learn many things about. Like, I didn't know what kind of person he was, or how he liked, or did he love me or not. So I wanted to learn the reaction when I was born, and this kind of very simple question that any children, any daughters can ask their fathers or their grandparents. And I went to Mahmur, and I wanted to learn more about him apart from being a warrior, a guerrilla, or a revolutionary man. I wanted to focus on his human side, and as a father, what was his reaction with children. And actually I realized that not me, but he was a father of many children. And my kind of soul sisters and brothers who were living in refugee camp, they were accepting him as a father. So it was a journey actually between me and him, and I wanted to make a peace with him, because even I know that he was right and he has to go, and our country, our history was like brutal to everyone. But you know, as a person, as a feeling, and I was feeling that he hurt my feeling when he left me. So I wanted to make a peace with him, and I wanted to make a peace with myself, and also with my history, with my identity. So this all thoughts make me to make a film about him. How cinema can raise the voice about the Kurdish issue. I think it's really important, and we are also, as a Kurdish filmmaker, and with other my Kurdish filmmakers friend, we are discussing this question between us. Because as many people know, the last century, the Kurdish people remained in silence, and you cannot find anything officially about them. You cannot find any documentary, you cannot find any books or like which was in Kurdish language. So at the end of the 1990s, after the way of filming become more democratic, because it become more cheaper and it's more easier to find camera or the sound devices, then the Kurds began to make films about their own story, like me. And I think it's important because after this all denial, after this all prohibitions, after this all violences, what it would be and which stories they would tell to the rest of the people, to the world, to the other nations, to the Italian peoples or the French people. And I think that the most important thing in here that we want other people to understand us, what we experienced and what we lived and what we wanted. So it can be very simple. It can be as in my case, it can be the just relation between a daughter and father, which was like the absent father and the absent love, the absent history, or many other concepts. But this can be also about the genocide in Iraq, about Anfal. But the Kurdish cinema is, I think, it's in the number of the filmmakers, or also number of the films increase every day, every year, and the festivals they want to see the more films about Kurdish people, because we are talking about 40 million people, and they don't have a official state, they don't have official anything, they don't have a cinema yet. So now, like one after other, they are getting to learn film, and they make new film about the Kurdish issue, about their own problem, and in their language. What I wish for my country and for my nation, for Kurdish people, I think they all wanted to live more normal way, more usual way, because they have experiencing many like unusual century and unusual events, unusual happenings. So it's just, I think, like in my village, I was in a very small village, and the people around me, they were talking about land, they were talking about sun, they were talking about their just harvest, and about their animals, their like chickens, and that was very easy life, very happy life, and nothing else. But when they kept their language, when they kept their nation identity, and they just started to talk about politic matters, and the Kurds not only politic matters, they have very deep culture. They have Denkbeş, which is like the storytellers we have. They have music, very special music, and they have like many jokes, many fairy tales. And I wish to tell the world that the Kurds not only like the indication of them, not only to be terrorists, not only to be like the politic matters, and they are more than them. They are people who respect to the land, who respect to the sun, and who respect to the everything, like the respect to the people's mind, the new ideas. So this will be my wish, to see people to live in a normal way as other nations do. I'm working on a new project now, and it calls Rosh. It's a story of a 7 years little Kurdish girl. She wants to go to school, but she needs an identity which she doesn't have, and it's not easy for her to get an identity, but she only wants to get identity to just continue her education. So we see her and her society and how she struggled to get her identity, but also there is a connection between Armenian and Kurdish history. So because they are in a small village and they don't have enough water, so they cannot feed or they cannot plant easily. So, but many wells around the village, and all of them, they are dried. So they are, we understand that from the film that they are old Armenian wells and has been dried after they left. So during the film, when there's like the parallel, they go parallel, and we see her when she's struggling to get her identity and how it connects to the Armenian history. So we see how Kurdish people and Armenian people history, and they are like kind of destiny, they tie together. So because these wells are being they dried just after genocide, because they just threw the old bodies, corpses to this well, and that's why the wells has been dried since then. So this is the story of Rosh, and also the story of these wells. They are true stories that I have heard in my country. So I wrote it, and it will be a fiction feature film, and it's a big dream for me to make it true. But I'm working on a Kurdish fairy tales, which I believe that it's also important to understand the structure of these fairy tales, because as a filmmaker, the way that you tell your story is also important to everything else. And if we understand that the way of our denkbesh, our storytellers tell their stories, I think we can keep it for our films. And that's why I use also in I Feel Used, which the title comes from a fairy tale also. I like to use fairy tales and like the affection on us and in my films, because I think also I would stress that these fairy tales, the fairy tales of my grandmother, helped me a lot to improve my film in language, and also helped me a lot to escape and to stay healthy in this tragic story. It's an honor for me to get an award prize by name of the Mirella Galetti, because I know how she was brave, how she was sportive in Kurdish studies, and also she's really important name to make Kurdish awareness in Italian society. So I would like to say that this award encouraged me and also motivated me in my films, and I hope, or I wish, that we will have many brave women, and also we will have many films in the future. Thank you.